Fracas made us from stone to protect Girdlegard. Against orcs, ogres, and all the other beasts of Tion. We are the guardians of Girdlegard. We are the children of the divine smith. We are the Dwarves. Just a moment! Not possible right now! Just a moment! Not possible right now! What is it? Just a moment! A present from the workshop! That's that! Moment! Not possible right now! Just a moment! Not possible right now! Just a moment! Too many of them! And again! And stay dead! That's that! And again! My king! What are you doing here?
Giselbert I, the father of the Fifthling clan, has not been on the front line of battle against the creatures of Tion for many cycles. The king surveys the battlefield and the defenders with a grave expression.
We are too few.
This you know as well as he does. But there will be no reinforcements arriving. Hundreds of brave warriors lie inside the fortress dying. The illness is running rampant. It brings weakness and death.
Stay at your posts. Be as steadfast as the granite of which we are made. Nothing can break us. Vrakas is with us.
Huh?
Another one gone.
What is it?
What?
Yes?
Yes?
And stay dead! That's that?
Be off with you. Hammer time!
That's that?
Another one gone! Yes? Be off with you! On my way!
What is it? Not possible right now! And again!
What? Yes?
That's that? And stay dead! That's that? Yes?
Another one gone!
And stay dead!
What?
What is it?
Yes?
And again! And stay dead! And again! Yes?
Hammer time! Another one gone! What?
And again! These are the ones who attacked us in the tunnels. We suffered great losses beating them back.
Come here and I'll split you like a straw, you treacherous elf!
In his fury, the old king radiates a ferocious power that none of Citalia's children could withstand. But the slight, willowy being sitting astride the shadow mare just grins down, mockingly.
You are mistaken. We are Alpha. We are here to destroy the elves.
All peace-loving beings here in Girdlegard are under our protection, and you cannot open the gate that has barred your path into Girdlegard since the creation of the world.
Not us, but perhaps one of your kind.
This cannot be. Silence, you fool! Vrakas, forgive me for what I am about to do.
Quickly! In formation! You must hold them back until I close the gate!
Yes? What is it? And again! And again!
Look at me. I am Syntheras, the Reaper of your death. I will take your life, and the land will take your soul.
Get out of my sight, pointy ears, and let me delight at the closed gate a little longer.
The gate may have closed, but when you rise again from the dead by the power of the land, you will be one of us, and you will open it.
Never! My soul belongs to Vrakas.
No. Your soul now belongs to the land, and henceforth you will belong to it forever. Now die, and return. Then hand us Girdlegard.
You're a perfectionist, Tungdil Bolafar.
I've got a reputation to uphold. If you can't rely on the metalwork of a dwarf, what can you rely on? What can I do for you?
For me, nothing. It's Lot Yonan. He wants to see you in his study.
In your mind, you go through all the recent incidents that might have annoyed the Magus. Apart from a few little squabbles with his famuli, nothing worth mentioning happened since the incident with your beard. You nod.
Okay. You look dreadful.
What a charmer.
The maid gives you an ironic, reprimanding scowl.
Ikana has been crying half the night.
When you were teething, I carried you around the vaults. You played with my beard and I sang you to sleep.
Frala smiles. She's heard this story many times before.
That was 23 cycles ago. I'm quite sure you didn't sing. You might have grumbled a bit.
If what you've read about the dwarven lifespan is true, It'll be another 300 sun cycles and more before you are called to the Eternal Forge. The certainty of one day having to witness Frala's death already burdens your heart.
I'd better not keep the Magus waiting.
See you later. There's goulash for dinner.
There was a time when you could hardly lift the heavy hammer. Now you barely notice it anymore, and it feels like an extension of your arm. Smithing is in your blood. There are apparently dwarves who have never seen the sky. And you too feel more comfortable when you have rock over your head. If only you didn't long to see more of the world, a longing that grows stronger with every year. Everything you know about dwarves you learnt from books. The divine smith created the dwarves, and from time to time you make him an offering of some crumbs of gold. It's the most valuable thing you have to offer Vracus. You've worked a bit more on Sunya's birthday present last night. The little one is crazy about horses. You, on the other hand, prefer to keep your distance unless you're fitting them with hooves. Too many legs, and way too big.
Hey, groundling! Come to the kitchen, we need you.
Jolison, a fourth-degree famulus and your favorite foe among the students of magic, gives you a disparaging glance and disappears without waiting for your reply.
Master Lot-Yonan, Frala told me you wished to speak with me.
Ah, Tungdil, come in. There is a bag over there in the cupboard. Take it out, please. It contains artifacts belonging to my former famulus Goren. I wish to return them to him. He's in Blacksaddle, 300 miles away.
300 miles? That's a long journey. Who are you going to entrust with this?
I was thinking of you.
Me?
There is no one better to take on this journey. You have acquired much knowledge. You are almost a scholar. You know more than most famuli about Girdlegard and its inhabitants. It is time for you to go out into the world and see it with your own eyes.
With pleasure. What's in the bag?
Magical devices. You better leave the bag closed if you want to avoid any accidents. Dwarves don't really like magic, and magic doesn't like you either.
Vracus gave us so much craftsmanship that there's no space left in our bodies for magic.
Strictly speaking, every time you've been too close to magic, it has ended in catastrophe.
Perhaps I'll meet some dwarves on my travels.
Yes, perhaps. But don't hold out too much hope. And be careful who you talk to. Not everyone out there likes dwarves.
Yeah, goblins. They abduct baby dwarves and sell them to magi, from what I've heard.
Not the best bit of business I've ever done. But what was I to do? The Longnoses threatened to throw you into the nearest river. Be on your guard. Look after the bag and don't lose it. May Palandiel be with you. And Vracus too, of course.
I'll set off immediately. I'll see you soon, Lot-Yonan.
Hey, what are you doing, groundling?
We're still eating here. Why don't you go and get your own portion?
The blacksmith. Do you want something?
Did a horse bolt while you were trying to shoe it? It's certainly not on our plates.
Deal! Quick! Or the goulash will get burnt!
You immediately recognize what the problem is. A chain running over a pulley for positioning the cauldron is detached from its mounting, and the cauldron stuck in the fireplace. It's a heavy load, and none of the famuli, who feel superior even during kitchen duty, dare do anything. They might burn their fingers, or even get a bit dirty.
It'd be a waste of goulash. And I'm hungry. Here, hold this.
With as much concern in your voice as you can muster, you say,
Oh, no, this doesn't look good.
You're pleased to notice he's dripping with sweat.
I'll get you back for this, groundling!
Do you remember when you dyed my beard with some magic spell? I had to shave it off.
You stroke your beard, which is unusually short for a dwarf.
Damn it! Ah, it's heavy!
The young human forces through his pursed lips, letting the pot sink a little.
Don't you dare ruin my goulash, boy!
The cook with beefy forearms glares at the young man, and after a brief moment, he tries harder.
You damned freak!
For a moment, you hope the famulus really does raise his hand to you. But then he comes to his senses and leaves the kitchen, his face bright red.
What a pair you are!
The goulash is bubbling in the cauldron. You draw the warm air in through your nose, and the smell makes your mouth start watering. Vegetables, bread, cheese, but the cook is not to be trifled with. Many painful knuckles have taught you that she knows how to handle her heavy wooden spoon, and that she may possibly have eyes in the back of her head. The beer that is delivered to the vaults is supposed to be the best beer in Idderslane. It's certainly your favourite beer, but you haven't drunk enough other beers to truly know. You're about to dive headlong into your adventure, but then stop yourself.
A journey over 300 miles without provisions and a weapon. I shouldn't forget to think in all my excitement.
You're about to dive. It would be better to leave Lot Yonan to his work for now. You've already been given an assignment, and you should leave as soon as possible. After all, you don't want him thinking you're homesick before you've even left. Lot Yonan didn't just take you in. He also taught you how to read and write. But you don't feel like reading right now. Especially as you already know all the books by heart. Of the 200 or so people selected to learn the art of magic under Lot Yonan, there's barely a handful of them you can stand the sight of. You're not at all interested in magic in all its elusiveness and whimsy. Your realm is the Forge. You're about to die. You're about... Within a few moments you find Blacksaddle on the map. It is southeast of Parista, a little more than halfway between the city of the Magus Nudin and Lot Yonan's vaults. You trace the path from the vaults to the mountain with your finger. It doesn't seem far on the map, but it will be the biggest journey of your life. Lot Yonan's vaults are equipped with laboratories, a library, and private rooms for the famuli. Together with the forge, the kitchen, and the other utility rooms, it makes up quite an impressive complex. But compared to the courts of the other magi, the seat of power in Yonandar is small and modest. This is where you swung the forge hammer for the first time 30 cycles ago. No one taught you the craft. It was enough for you to watch Lot Yonan's old smith at work. Whenever the workshop was empty, you practiced and quickly mastered the craft with ease. Just as you reach the door, your stomach rumbles. It's not even noon yet, and you think you're going to survive a 300-mile journey without provisions. The goulash is bubbling.
Hello, Frala. I need provisions for 300 miles.
You're grinning from ear to ear. Finally, you've got the chance to see something of the world.
300? Tungdil, that's no errand. That's an epic journey. Wait, I've got just the right thing. But make sure the cook doesn't see.
I'm going to Blacksaddle to return a few things to a former apprentice in the Magus.
You pocket the rye bread, sausages, and ham. Enough food for the first few days of your journey.
Perhaps I'll even meet some dwarves on the way.
Frala throws you a cautious glance. It's a tricky subject that you can't help but broach.
There aren't dwarves down here. You're the only one in Idislane, as far as we know.
I know, but I can't just have been born out of a rock. Somewhere in the mountains, I have a clan. Maybe even a family.
Yes. Maybe.
Frala has reminded you more than once that Lot Yonan wrote to the dwarf clans and none of them were missing a dwarf boy.
I've got a present for you.
You take out a symbol of protection that you've carefully made from 3 horseshoe nails.
It's not the finest jewelry in Girdlegard.
One look at Frala's face makes it clear that it doesn't matter. She glows with happiness as she takes the pendant.
For me? But why?
Because you don't see me as an oddity, and you're like a little sister to me.
You could have said. But you settle with a shrug and a crooked smile.
I have to go. I've got a long journey ahead of me.
I wish you the blessing of Palandial and Vracus to protect you from all danger in your journey. Here, a talisman. Whenever you look at it, think of me.
Frala winks at you mischievously.
And of getting me a nice present.
How nice to see you again, Lot Yonan. It must have been an age since we last met face to face.
Nudin, welcome. Please, sit down.
No, thank you, my friend. These are urgent matters, and I don't have much time. You must come to Leos Nudin immediately. The perished land is stirring.
Are you sure? What makes you think that?
I found out about 60 orbits ago, during a visit to the borders. Our magical barriers have weakened and become porous. The Elfar have left their land, and a huge horde of orcs have marched into Girdlegard.
Were you able to strengthen the spell with your magic?
No. I can't repair the damage alone. We need the combined power of the 6. The other 4 are already on their way here, but we need your help too.
I will set off for Parista without delay.
Oh, and as you're coming, could you also take the opportunity to bring back the things that I lent to you?
Of course. I have them already packed in a bag.
Oh, thank you. We'll be expecting you.
Utterly blinded by the sunlight, you squeeze your eyes tightly shut after only a few steps. The time spent underground has made you so sensitive to light that you're forced to seek shelter in the shade of a mighty oak. You reach a small lake by a birchwood. Your feet hurt and your eyes still sting in the unaccustomed sunlight, but a smile spreads across your face nonetheless. You've covered a decent distance on the first day of your big journey. You pitch your camp and lie down to sleep on the hard forest floor. When you awake in the morning, your legs are stiff and achy, Trying not to feel sorry for yourself, you throw your rucksack over your shoulder. You're a dwarf, and dwarves don't complain. Around midday, with the sun high in the sky and the first beads of sweat appearing on your forehead, you see something move next to the road, a few hundred meters ahead. Some crows are pecking at something in the long grass. The creaking leather armor, the clattering rucksack, and a dwarf's inability to be quiet makes the crows flap around as you move from one bush to another. You give up trying to be stealthy, stand up straight, and see two human bodies in the flattened grass. You don't see any signs of a struggle in the area where the corpses are lying. Were they stabbed by a companion? A stranger could hardly have crept up on them with such sparse cover. A slender man lies in front of you, dressed in an expensive robe. It is in the colors of Turgur the Fair-Faced, one of the 6 magi. The dead man must be one of Turgur's famuli. You don't see any wounds.
By Vracus.
There are some narrow stab wounds in the man's chest. The cuts are too big to have been made by arrows, but too small for sword wounds. You look down on a tall, broadly built man. He's wearing dark brown leather armor that is strengthened with iron plates. There's a sword lying next to him. Was he trying to defend himself against something? Or someone? There is no blood on the sword. The man has the same incisions. It's clear that both men were killed by the same weapon. But what that weapon might be, you cannot say.
Nothing. Nothing again.
You halt. There is something.
A rucksack? Did someone hide it in the bushes, or was it thrown in there?
You open the rucksack and recognize that someone has already rummaged through it. As well as some implements and writing utensils, you find a pouch full of gold and a talisman. The gold is proof that this is not a case of robbery.
It's not a robbery if you're already dead.
You give the corpse an apologetic look. The gold coins join the others in your purse. Warmth and a feeling of security flush through your body as you touch the talisman. You feel safer just holding it in your hand.
I'm taking you with me.
A rucksack that probably belonged to one of the dead. It seems to have been searched and then thrown away carelessly. You find a few implements, some provisions, and a map. A route is drawn on it from Parista, Nudin's capital, to Lot-Yonan's vaults.
Does this mean that Turga the Fair-Faced is in Parista and wanted to send Lot-Yonan a message? And if so, why didn't he use magic? Did he want to contact him without anyone noticing? Why all this secrecy?
You scour the area once more and ask yourself what to do next. It's time-consuming and strenuous work digging shallow graves in the ground with a stick and covering the corpses with a few stones. But it should at least keep the crows from their feasting for a while. You continue on your way so as to put a few more miles between you and your grisly find before night falls. You see a flickering light through the trees some way from the path. It might come from a campfire. You creep through the undergrowth towards the fire, but can't prevent your armor from clattering and small twigs from breaking under every heavy step you take. You curse quietly to yourself, but go on until you can see what's going on. 3 broad-shouldered men with axes sit at a campfire, on which 2 rabbits are sizzling. It's only thanks to the fact that the men are joking loudly with one another and not paying attention to their surroundings that they haven't discovered you yet. Once you reach the edge of the firelight, you say amicably,
"Greetings. My name is..."
The men jump up and grab their axes.
Who's there?
Well, I'll be. Is that a groundling?
The men look you over suspiciously.
My name is Tungdil. I'm only a traveller who would have nothing against a warm fire and some company.
A groundling wants our company.
We are honest, hard-working men. Why would we have anything to do with groundlings? Be off with you.
The man strengthens his grip on the axe and passes his tongue over his yellowed teeth while keeping you in his sights. You shrug your shoulders indifferently and take 3 small steps backwards without taking your eyes off the men.
All right, if I'm not welcome here, then I'll go.
Good! And don't even think about coming back to stab us in the back or steal from us. We'll keep guard. There's nothing here for groundling scum.
Your heart is pounding, and you confront the man a little more courageously than you feel.
I'm no thief, and I'm certainly no murderer. I only wanted to see if...
Pah! All groundlings are thieves and good-for-nothings.
You find it difficult to take control of your voice again.
Have you met many dwarves?
Enough to know that you're all dirty thieves.
Now consider this. I am a dwarf with an axe, and I don't use my axe for cutting down trees.
The men are visibly unsettled and lower their axes a little.
I thought so.
You turn your back on the men and walk back to the path confidently. You don't hear any steps behind you, and only once you've put distance between you do you dare look back over your shoulder. None of the men have followed you. You sigh with relief. It could have ended up a very painful experience if you'd provoked the men or shown them any weakness. You reach the banks of the Warder and can see Axeldale on the other side, but there isn't a bridge for far and wide. The fishermen's boats glide over the water, which sparkles in the sun. None of the men seem to notice you while they throw out their nets. You look at the cold, dark water. The current seems so strong that they could carry off even the most experienced of swimmers, and you aren't even a mediocre one. You once read a legend in a book. Elria, the goddess of water, did not like the children of the forge and cursed the dwarves, so that they would drown in any waters beyond their kingdoms. The main reason that dwarves avoid water to this day. You call to the nearest fisherman. He looks across at you briefly before turning away and getting back to his work. You're going to have to find another way of crossing the river. You leave the peaceful banks of the river behind you and continue on your way. You look down on a large village on the banks of the Warder. Some of the village is built on stilts in the river. A wooden bridge spans the fast-flowing water. A huge wooden palisade has been erected to protect the village from attack. Your eyes roam the land on the other side of the river. You estimate that you will soon have completed half of the journey to Blacksaddle, but you still can't make out the mountain on the horizon. The guards on the palisade are watching you. Their armor looks well cared for and well made. The smith who made them knew what he was doing. You conclude that the men depend on the protection the armor offers and aren't just wearing them to look good. They're certainly not villagers. There are small fires burning every 50 steps or so. They are intended to light up the area in front of the palisade in the night, so that orcs can't creep up to within an arrow's reach without being seen. You have spent the last nights under bushes on the hard, cold ground. You are yearning for a good meal and a real bed. The double gate is made of strong planks. Sturdy, but still much less solid than the fixed parts of the palisade. Security has been forgone here for practical reasons. Never a good idea when building fortifications.
Some of the guards begin to whisper as you near the gate.
Hello up there!
What brings you to fair Goodwater? And have you seen any orcs on your travels, groundling?
The man leaning over the palisade eyes you up and down carefully.
Goodwater is well known for its hospitality.
A fact that you've just made up yourself.
Let me in, and I will tell other travellers all about it.
I regret to inform you that we cannot allow you to enter. The gates stayed closed once night has fallen.
There is certainly no regret showing in the man's face.
I'm a blacksmith. And a dwarf. Let me tell you, your gate might look solid, but it won't withstand a real orc assault.
The murmuring all around him makes the man pause for a moment. If anyone else had criticized the stronghold, they'd have been laughed down and shooed away. But no one understands defense systems like the dwarves.
A dwarf blacksmith who just happens to be standing in front of our gate?
That's right. I can see to it that orcs crack open their skulls on your gate, just like at home on the High Pass. Skulls that add up to hard cash for you.
You only know about the secondling stronghold from books, but you can see in the man's face you've pushed the right buttons.
All right then. You can spend the night in the village. You begin work tomorrow morning, and it had better work like you promised.
Of course. It's a trifle.
After a meal, you spend the night in the comfort and shelter of a Goodwater tavern. The next morning, you feel fully refreshed. You strengthen the gate with cross braces of wood and iron, using your experience and skill. Now it should be able to withstand an attack for much longer. Mercenaries and villagers alike watch you work, clearly impressed. As you finish, a man approaches you.
Well done, dwarf. We were right to bring you into our village.
The village grew rich through bridge tolls, and this wealth must be defended. You're proud of what you've achieved in such a short time. You've even invested more time than was wise.
I was happy to help, but half the day is lost and I must be on my way.
A strong dwarf like you will always be welcome here in Goodwater. Be careful out there. Who knows where the orcs might be lurking?
Your route leads you back to Goodwater. The mercenaries on the palisades are still on the lookout for orcs and let you in as soon as they recognize you. An uneasy feeling has been your constant companion since you left Goodwater. Every little sound in the forest makes you fear you've been discovered by a horde of orcs. But you reach the end of the day without bumping into any of the greenskins. It seems as though Vrakas has granted you one more day in Girdlegard. As night begins to fall, you pass a large oak tree and decide to call it a day. Near the oak tree is an abandoned camp with a fireplace, which appears to be a couple of days old. You swing yourself up the trunk and then pull up your baggage after you. You're prepared to sleep in a tree like a bird if it means escaping the orcs' attentions. You sling your rope twice around your stomach and the trunk of the tree to stop you from falling accidentally. You close your eyes and dream. You see North Pass and smell the fresh, icy wind that sweeps over the peaks of Great Blade and Dragon's Tongue. But the harmony is interrupted by the hideous roar of an unending flood of orcs throwing itself unceasingly against the fortification. You smell the disgusting green blood of the orcs and taste the rancid fat of their armor on your tongue. The bitter taste becomes stronger until it's unbearable and wrenches you out of your dream. You open your eyes and are surprised at the brightness as a glance at the sky confirms that it's still night. Your eyes move towards the ground, and what you see makes the blood in your veins freeze.
I am Sinthras of Son Balsur. My master, Nod On the Doublefold, ruler of the perished land, has elected you, the lords of Taboribor, to be the sword that conquers the south.
You mean you want us to put our necks on the line and be killed by some magus?
Lord Yonan and the others will be taken care of. Your task is to create a diversion in the south until my master's plan succeeds.
And which of us is the leader?
The one that conquers the most land.
So Kragnar will be the new Grand Lord.
He glares at Ushnox and Bashkug.
The Kragnar Shore tribe will conquer the most land. Never! We will overwhelm the cities of the Red Bloods quicker than you can suck the marrow from a bone.
We shall see.
You can't believe what you're hearing. If the beasts of Tion ride into battle together, catastrophic cycles lie ahead for Girdlegard. The night in the oak tree was the worst of your life. You spent every single moment afraid that you would be found and savaged by the orcs. But as the first rays of sun broke through the treetops, the orcs abandoned their camp and left without discovering you.
Better safe than sorry.
Your eyes scan the deserted camp, and you listen carefully for any noise. But you don't see or hear anything suspicious. You're overcome by the urge to vomit. You have, of course, heard the stories, but seeing with your own eyes that orcs actually do eat humans is a long way from just reading about it.
This is the place. I knew it was here. Come on then, find that stupid necklace. Hey, Fushka! In front of you! A grounding! Perfect for a spotted breakfast!
You know that you're no warrior, but you want to face the orcs as a child of the Divine Smith. Perhaps you'll manage to kill at least one of them, so as not to appear so undwarven in Varacus's eyes.
I'll give you something to chew on. Vracus made us of stone.
Oink, oink, little piggies! By Barrow and Speared, how did you manage to lose your weapon? Go and get it, and this time, hold it tight. Hey, that one was mine.
You're just too slow, dear brother.
Too slow? Just wait.
Yes?
Yeah! And what now? He hardly put up a fight. What is it?
Huh?
Yeah! Ha-ha! Too easy! Yeah! Huh? What's the dust? Huh?
Yes?
Ow! Hey! And what now? Too easy! What is it?
I need help over here, quickly!
Too easy! What is it?
On my way!
Not that quick! Yes?
Huh?
Yeah! I just need a little rest. Yeah!
Huh?
Too easy! Yeah! I didn't hit you very hard! Yes? I didn't hit you very hard!
Understood. Huh?
Yeah! Yeah!
Huh? And again.
Oink oink! That's all? No more orcs?
Well fought, young friend. Do you happen to be tongued ill?
Well fought? But he fought like a...
Boindale, what do you expect? He grew up amongst the humans.
Who are you, and how do you know my name?
My name is Boindale Hookhand, of the clan of the Swinging Axes. This is my brother, Boindale Doubleblade. We've been sent to find you.
Call me Ironheart. Are there any more piggy snouts around here?
You turned up at just the right moment. But are you sure it's me you're looking for?
The High King Gundrabur sent us to fetch you and bring you to Ogre's death in the Secondling realm in the south.
So he received the letter from my master? And am I a secondling?
Well, something like that, I guess.
There was a meeting last night. The Elfar serve a certain Nod-On who calls himself Lord of the Perish Land. They have enlisted 3 orc hordes to cause unrest in the south.
Did you hear that, Boandal? Peggy snouts!
The Elfar from San Balzur and the orcs from Taboribor are working together?
And could ally with the orcs from the Perish Land.
The twins look at you solemnly. You all know what that would mean for the people of Girdlegard.
We've got to...
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say, but it's our duty to get you to the Ogre's Death Fortress in one piece.
I thought the duty of dwarves was to protect the innocent in Girdlegard.
Lot Yonan and King Broron will take care of the orcs. We 3 must be careful. You're not exactly a warrior.
But he has broad shoulders and broad hands. There's hope for him yet. So when you've got the chance to split a few orc skulls, you should take it.
I would be happy to follow you into the realm of the Secondlings. In truth, there is nothing I would rather do. But first, I must travel to Blacksaddle and return some things to a former famulus of Lot Yonan.
Blacksaddle isn't exactly on our way.
It's on my way. We can head south as soon as I've carried out Lot Yonan's orders.
Well, he's certainly got the stubbornness of a dwarf. Perhaps we'll be able to make a real dwarf of him on the way.
All right, we'll accompany you. The sooner we find that famulus, the quicker we can get back to the mountains.
I'll have to send Lot Yonan a message by carrier pigeon on the way. And if we happen to stumble upon a couple of orcs...
I like you, but we'll have to find you another name. Bolafar. It's about as good as Lipsmith, Paddletosh, or Blufflegrump. It is stupid, senseless, and definitely not a name of honor. What are you good at?
I'm good at reading.
Reading? You're a scholar?
You and the twins approach Goodwater. A huge army of orcs has surrounded the village on 3 sides. You see smoke and fire and hear the battle cries. The village is holding out, but for how long?
Oh, now it's getting exciting!
Archers in front of them, 3 dwarves behind. I wouldn't like to be in their shoes.
Commander! Give me a hand!
Yeah. I didn't hit you very hard. Too easy.
Yes, yes, sold! I'm not that quick.
What is it?
Yes?
Pow! Another one.
I need help over here, quickly!
He cheated!
Yes?
Huh?
What is it? I didn't hit you very hard. Yes?
Kill! At once. On my way. Do it again. I can't do that yet. They're hitting me pretty hard.
What is it? Boindale! What could do with your axes over here? I didn't hit you very hard. Yeah! Did you see that, men? Now they are warriors. Hey, you down there! I'll send you some reinforcements. Let's stick it to those runts.
All right then, stay close to us.
Oh, Boindale! Where is Boindale?
Vile creature! I need help over here, quickly!
Yeah!
They're hitting me pretty hard! I can't do that yet! Kill! Please wait a moment! And again! And again! Kill! Vile creature! I can't do that yet! Please wait a moment! I can't do that yet! Kill! I need help over here! Quickly! And again! They're hitting me pretty hard!
The orcs' fighting spirit lessens with every fallen comrade. After Kragnar's death, they finally attempt to flee the battlefield. Very few escape the mercenaries' arrows. The leader of the mercenaries approaches you, surrounded by his soldiers. His expression is one of recognition, caution, perhaps even awe.
You're the groundling, dwarf, who reinforced our gate a couple of days ago. It served us very well, just as your axes have.
A young mercenary runs towards you. He has something in his hands that he clearly wants to get rid of quickly.
Commander, we found this on their leader. It feels strange.
The commander looks at the amulet in the man's hand and makes no suggestion that he plans to touch it himself. You take your opportunity.
May I?
You take the amulet and can feel a tingling on your skin. It is clearly magical.
Keep it. as a sign of our gratitude.
The commander bids you farewell with a short nod and moves away. It would seem he thinks he's made a good deal. Axeldale is shrouded in an eerie silence as you approach. There's not a single fishing boat on the river, and many of the houses are now just burnt-out ruins.
The big-nosed beasts have made a grim job of it. Seems they don't like fish.
Boendal gives his brother a reproachful look. There are dead bodies everywhere, but it seems to you that there should be more of them. For a brief moment, you hope that the villagers had fled. But then you realize that the orcs were probably hungry after their victory, and your stomach turns. Boendal lays a hand on your shoulder.
Let's go. There's nothing more we can do for these people. But maybe there are others we can help.
You arrive at a crossroads with a tavern on the corner. A warm light is emanating from its window, lighting up the road around it. A stone sculpture. You observe the surroundings, but the road is empty and no one leaves the tavern. You notice a broken window on the first floor, which has been boarded up with planks. Something wet drips onto your nose, and you look up to the cloudy sky with a bad-tempered expression.
Huh! Why are we standing here and just getting wet from the outside?
You enter the tavern with a determined stride and are greeted by a thick wall of pipe smoke. The dozen or so drinkers at the tables turn towards you, then give each other astonished and slightly worried looks. In the tavern, there are half a dozen people sitting at the tables, and just as many at the bar, clearly farmers and labourers from the surrounding villages. Boindale pays no attention to the other guests and trudges over to a table. Together with his brother, you follow him and sit down. The landlord comes out from behind the bar.
What can I get you?
You hear surly muttering from one of the tables.
What are groundlings doing showing their faces here, now of all times?
You stand up and turn to the room.
This round's on me.
The faces of the guests and the landlord brighten up immediately. The landlord gets to work pulling everyone a beer and handing out the tankards. Some of the guests say cheers to you as they get their drinks.
Did two travellers pass this way? One was a famulus, the other a mercenary.
The landlord shakes his head indifferently and mumbles something incoherently. One of the guests is about to say something, but shuts up when the person next to him gives him a poke.
Come on now, tell us what happened. We're all friends here.
The man who was going to speak the first time round looks over to his neighbour, who nods.
Two travellers spent the night here. One had a robe on, the other was a mercenary. The next day they left, all in a hurry. Said they'd been attacked by an elf.
One of the other drinkers finds his voice too.
There was a hell of a lot of noise that night. As if there'd been a dust-up.
They left some gold here for the trouble. I thought they meant the noise, but then I noticed the broken window.
The landlord sighs.
Please, don't tell anyone else about this. Who will want to spend a night in a tavern where an elf has been sighted?
Despite Boindale's loud protestations about wanting another drink, you say goodbye and set off on your way accompanied by the twins. By the evening campfire, Boindale rummages around in his rucksack and pulls out a cheese wrapped in a cloth. He sticks a fist-sized piece on a spit and grills it on the fire.
Ah, there's nothing better than grilled cheese at the end of a long day.
The smell it gives off makes you hold your breath.
Oh, it smells like my socks after weeks of marching in my boots.
Oh, picky, are you? Hardly surprising, considering you were brought up by humans. It's ruined your taste.
Boindale holds the stinky cheese at the end of the stick under your nose.
Eat, and stop complaining.
You pull the warm piece of cheese from the stick. It tastes dreadful. Your fingers will smell of it for the next few days, and probably your mouth will too. There are dead orcs lying in the defensive trenches and strewn over the meadows in front of the city. Some of the locals are busy throwing the bodies on pyres, while others repair the minor damage done to the city wall. You enter the city and the garrison at its centre without being spoken to. It is only when you reach a heavy oak door that leads, you assume, to the commanding officer's headquarters, that you are halted by a guard.
Dwarves, eh? Seems we aren't to be spared anything these days. What do you want?
It looks like you've got an orc problem.
Had. Our scouts detected the army early on, and we were able to repel them without any great losses. A small army of orcs like that couldn't breach our mighty walls.
Your mighty walls look like they're about to collapse under their own weight!
The soldier isn't intimidated by Boindil. He juts his chin out confidently.
At least they stopped the orcs, unlike your dwarven walls in the north.
I didn't know that Steepleton was so big. Impressive place.
We have fertile meadows. That's what we have to thank for the city's growth in recent years. At the time of my grandparents, Steepleton was nothing more than the tower on a hill with a couple of houses. Now we have a market, a temple, and of course, there are royal messengers stationed in the tower, which doesn't do the city's coffers any harm at all.
I must speak with your commander.
Commander Valor doesn't have time. He's still very busy dealing with the aftermath of the orc attack.
Commander Valor is dealing with the orc problem, and I have important information concerning it. I witnessed a meeting of the orc lords.
The guard eyes you with interest and tries to judge whether you can be trusted. Finally, he stands up, opens a door, and enters the room ahead of you. The commander looks up from his work. The guard repeats what you told him.
Your information about the orcs could be useful. We have fought them back but not yet defeated them. Come in.
The commander listens attentively and now and then asks questions as you tell him about the 3 orc armies and the meeting of the chieftains with the Alf-Syntheras.
This sounds very grave. I will send out messengers. We must be prepared.
The orc army that attacked you was able to escape?
What was left of it? They headed south. Unfortunately, I can't send anyone after them until the damage to the wall is repaired.
The commander looks at you with a disgruntled expression. It suddenly seems clear to him who he has standing in front of him.
If you're interested, you could try and wipe out the mob that got away and collect the bounty.
Killing pig noses and getting paid for it? Where's the heads?
You grin at Boindil and then turn back to the commander.
We'll see what we can do. We must press on. Farewell, Commander Valor.
Kill as many orcs as you can, dwarves. Palandir will be with you.
You approach Scalebrook through its expansive fields and spot smoke rising up into the sky. A short while later, you can hear the cries of battle, and finally you can smell the tallow on the orc's armor. Scalebrook is at war.
Quick, we have to help those people.
All right, wait, go. And what now? Yes? Too easy.
Please wait a moment.
What is it?
Find somewhere safe to hide. We'll come back for you once we've saved the other villagers.
What is it?
Yes?
Yeah!
As good as done.
All right, go. Yeah! Huh?
On my way. As good as done.
That's it! They're fleeing!
I don't think so. They're just rallying.
And that's what we should do too. Come on.
Thank you so much. You saved us.
Not yet. The orcs are rallying. You must join us.
But we can't.
You must. Here they come.
All right. Huh?
Uh-huh.
And what now?
As good as done.
What is it? Yes? What is it? What is it?
Yes?
Huh? Yes?
Uh-huh.
And what now?
Huh?
Yes? On my way.
Huh? What is it? All right.
Uh-huh.
What is it? Yes?
Yes?
Huh?
Huh? As good as done.
What is it? Yes, yes! What is it?
Yes?
And again!
And again! Ow! Another one bites the dust!
Yeah!
Too easy!
Creature.
He hardly put up a fight!
On my way! As good as done!
Understood.
Right. On my way! As good as done!
While Boindale still hunts the last of the orcs through the alleyways of the village, you and Boendal are already helping search for survivors. Various villagers, all with shocked, ashen faces, come and thank you for saving them. A middle-aged man nervously steps from one foot to the other and tries to force a smile.
My father, the village elder, he is dead. I think I must follow in his footsteps, so I thank you in the name of Scalebrook. He left behind some gold as a dowry for my sister. She's...
The man bows his head, produces a leather pouch, and kneads it with trembling hands.
If only you'd come earlier.
But before you can reply, the man takes a deep breath and forces himself to look at you.
What am I saying? How ungrateful. Thanks to you, many of us are still alive. My daughter may be able to marry one day, thanks to your bravery.
The man hesitates briefly, then thrusts the leather pouch towards you.
We won't accept your gold. Bury your dead, rebuild your village, and be a good father to your daughter.
Boendal looks at you, and you think you can see an approving nod. The man opens his mouth to say something, but then he just shakes his head and finally starts again.
I thank you, dear sir, but there is no way I can let you go with empty hands. Here, take this. My father bought it from a trader, one of your kind.
You see a camp with a wagon and two people on the edge of the path. Behind them, Black Saddle towers up above a thick, dark forest, about a half a day's journey away. You don't want to give them a shock, so you address them while you're still a distance away.
Hello, friends. Is there any space by your fire?
The two traders look up and visibly jump when they see you three dwarves.
Ah, hello. Yes, of course.
It doesn't escape your attention that you seem to be causing the traders some uneasiness, but you take up their offer and sit down. The twins follow your example.
We're only travelers. We're looking for someone who's said to live on Black Saddle. A hermit.
Someone who lives here?
The traders exchange amazed looks.
If they live here, they must be mad.
Normally we wouldn't stop and rest here, but the horses are too exhausted. Our departure from Parista was delayed, and we must have driven them too hard.
Why does Black Saddle make you feel uneasy? It doesn't look particularly inviting, but it's only a mountain.
Only a mountain? You don't know the legend.
The trader looks at you and the twins for affirmation, but you all shake your heads.
Black Saddle was once known as Cloud Piercer, and it towered up into the heavens, the upper slopes of pure gold and the summit covered in snow. The humans wanted to attain this wealth, but the smooth slopes and the dazzling summit made the climb impossible. They called on the dwarves to help them. They were able to tunnel up through Cloudpiercer to the top. They hollowed it out and carried away the gold. The humans demanded that the treasure be shared, but the dwarves refused, and as they argued, the mountain began to tremble. There were too many holes inside for it to hold together. It collapsed and buried both greedy parties underneath it. The mountain lost its tremendous size and its beauty, and ever since has haunted both humans and dwarves with its erosive hatred, causing even the rocks to turn black over time.
Pfft. Never heard of it. Sounds like human tittle-tattle. Dwarves would never hollow out a mountain so much that it collapses.
You come from Parista. How are things there?
No news to speak of, I'd say. Well, except for Nudin the Knowledge Lusty.
You know Nudin the Knowledge Lusty. Lot Yonan introduced him to you many years ago during a visit.
What about him?
Oh, nothing really. Just rumors.
You nod at the trader to continue.
He's behaving strangely and disappears into his tower for days on end.
Merely looks ill, apparently. Well, that's what someone I know said. Perhaps he got a spell wrong.
Later in the night, after eating together and some friendly conversation by the campfire, you all decide to sleep. But you take the first watch. It's a night in which nothing happens, and the next morning the traders set off early. After breakfast, you also continue on your journey. After a march through the thick pine forest, Black Saddle, the sinister tabletop mountain, and your journey's destination rises up before you.
Are you sure that the Famulus lives here?
Yes, according to Lot Yonan.
Although you try to put a lot of assurance into your voice, you too see no signs that anyone lives here.
No castle, no tunnel, no camp. There's nothing here but mountain.
Then we'll have to take a closer look.
You do that, Scholar. We'll be waiting for you here.
You think about objecting, but it would just be a waste of breath.
Found anything? A hidden camp? A secret doorway? Gold?
No. Not yet.
Even the dark, evergreen forest seems to be afraid of the Black Mountain. No trace of Garen here either. If he's close, then there must be some kind of cave somewhere in the mountain. An old tree. Looks like it could fall down at any moment. There we go. Too steep. I can't get a grip anywhere. If Garen is here, then he is further up. I should find some kind of clue before I climb down again. I should be able to get up here. Oh. Phew. That was close. I hope this is all worth it.
Something engraved on it.
You realize with surprise that they are runes in the Dwarven language.
Built with the blood of our enemies, be unyielding as the rock, and soak the land in their blood. Huh? Hello? Master Garen, Lot Yonan sent me to bring some items back to you. My inquiries are almost at an end. That means I can finally go to be with my sunshine. I have never been to Greenglade, but I think I will like it there. I deposited my most valuable things in the grave of Horengarth before my departure and secured it with magic. The password is...
You recognize the following words as rune names, but they're written in the learned language, so you don't know which they are.
Greenglade. Oh, great.
Useful. An eternal flame. I know who taught him that.
You see sketches and notes on the architectural features, statues and wall reliefs. It seems Garen spent a lot of time studying this place.
Maybe he's kind of a dwarf historian, or maybe he's just a treasure hunter. Hello? Is anyone there?
It looks as though Garen lived in the fortress for a while. It also seems that he left several lunar orbits ago.
He's not stealing. It would just be a shame if the provisions went off.
A series of weapons that are all clearly of dwarven origin. The spider webs and rust suggest they have been here for quite a while, maybe even centuries.
Born of stone, forged in battle. Arise, reborn from the blood of the enemy.
You're not sure if you really want to know what was once in this basin. The whole place gives you the feeling that a decent dwarf shouldn't hang around too long.
A rune. Clearly magical. Ah, that's it. Garen's most valuable belongings. Letters from his lover, a silk scarf that must have belonged to her, and a medallion. Thirdlings, the fortress belongs to the dwarf haters. Lorenber's dwarves are not only as unyielding as a mountain, they are also as destructive as an avalanche, and would batter into lesser kingdoms just as relentlessly. The four should find no salvation in Vracus, only eternal damnation, so that they suffer indescribable torment between the worlds.
You have heard of the dwarf haters, but this is the first time you have read their hateful words. You feel sick and turn away. It would seem that even the Thirdlings worship Vracus, but in all the other kingdoms his shrine would be the biggest, not the statue of the kingdom's progenitor. A couple of gold coins are in the bowl in front of the shrine.
Can't do any harm. Lorimber, the progenitor of the Thirdlings.
In most of the chronicles about the 5 dwarfen kingdoms, only very little is written about the Thirdlings, and what is written is full of disgust. They are called traitors, or worse.
Graves. Could be buried here.
Definitely a rock face. Here's a... No, forget it.
So, Scholar, what are the results of your inquiries?
There is an abandoned fortress in the mountain, and I think it belonged to the Thirdlings.
Boindale's eyes narrow.
The blasted dwarf killers!
A Thirdling fortress? Here? In the middle of Girdlegard? We must let High King Gundrabur know about this.
The fortress has been long abandoned by the looks of it. Anyway, I can't go to Ogre's death until I have completed my quest. Goren is in Greenglade.
Huh.
The High King? Why do you want to bring me to him?
All right then. It's about the choice of the new High King. Gandagar, the king of the Fourthlings, is with his entourage in Ogre's death and is supposed to ascend the throne.
But our acting High King Gundrabur wants to prevent that from happening. He fears that Gandagar wishes to instigate a war against the elves.
But what have I got to do with that?
Boindale is about to say something, but is silenced by a nudge in the side from his brother.
High King Gundrabur will explain everything when the time comes.
You look distrustfully from one twin to the other. Boindale has donned an innocent expression, and Boendal doesn't give you the impression that he has anything else to say on the matter.
What does this King Gandagar have against the elves?
Dwarves and elves just don't get along. Brachus and Satalia made us that way.
I know that, but going to war for just that, after all this time?
Well, there must be more behind it. They say that the king of the Fourthlings is full of hatred and is a hothead in this matter.
A Thirdling fortress? Here, in the heart of Girdlegard? That's strange, isn't it?
And worrying. But they've always been wily. They move in the shadows and kill there too if they can. Do you know their story?
I've read about it. Lorimber, their progenitor, rejected the name that Vracus gave him, who in turn did not give him any special talent, so his kingdom studied war.
It helps them defending the East, but it also meant they ended up confronting the other kingdoms. No dwarf would ever even think of injuring one of his kind, never mind killing them. But the dwarf killers are proud of it. When they were even more powerful, they wanted to become the rulers of all dwarves. They are envious of our skills. They haven't been heard of for a long time, but you can be sure there isn't a single dwarf alive who doesn't hate them.
Whatever, your High King must wait. I have a quest to carry out in Greenglade.
But our quest is...
Boindil raises a placatory hand and throws his rucksack onto his back in preparation.
Let it be, dear brother. Look at him. He has made his decision, and you will not be able to change his stubborn dwarven mind.
You can't help but smile.